So first of all, thanks for joining us. I think this is so exciting, and now that everyone can see us as a part of this season two, I was just mentioning your shirt. What does it say at the bottom of the rainbow?
Yeah, so it says true to you.
So what is this? Where'd you get the shirt? Because maybe I want to buy one.
So it was one of those brands that approached me on Instagram, and I could get it on discount, and it was something like that. It was an impulse purchase. It was a pandemic purchase. It was one of those things that during COVID, a bunch of people came up with ideas and brands and stuff, and we had a lot of time in our hands. Some of us had some money to spend, I guess, and this shirt just kind of caught my eye. And I don't wear black that much; it's not my favorite color.
I wear black every
But
day. No, I'm just kidding.
okay. I wasn't judging. It's just not my color, but I think this
No, it
shirt
was a racial joke. I wear black
kind
every
of
day.
worked.
Welcome to Fathernetics, Fatherhood Unfiltered. I'm Jamil. Welcome to the podcast.
Do it. You could never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby. You are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do
Yeah.
it like me.
So listen, let me ask you this,
Yeah.
because TikTok does a really good job of marketing and trying to get you to buy stuff. Do you buy a lot of stuff off of like TikTok or Instagram?
Not really. This was a very rare thing. And it was like 5 years ago. Sometimes there's an
Okay, good
ad
for you.
for something. I see an ad for something for my kid or something that I think it seems useful, and I go for it. But I don't know. I don't really fall for that. Sometimes it's cheap
I will tell
stuff.
you, I've done it once or twice,
Yeah.
and it has turned out horribly. Like I've sent everything back. So I've learned my lesson, because it always looks cool, right? They show you it's using it, and
Yeah.
they're really good at marketing it, and then you get it, and it's like a third the size, and it does half of what it says it does, and there's things falling off. So it's kind of weirdly interesting.
Yeah, it's the journalist in me that kind of second guess things all the time, and I liked I'm very traditional in the sense of like I need to see like someone really testing the product or a solid
Someone
endorsement,
you trust.
someone I trust, some celebrity endorsement or something. I mean, that works unfortunately. So like a
Oh, celebrity
random if it's like a
endorsement.
random something from maybe I will have to like see if it's something that I really need. I don't
If
know.
if Jason Momoa is wearing the same shirt, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get that one.
Maybe. Not really. Not really, but you know how it is.
Who's your favorite celebrity right now that's out
Oh,
there?
I don't
Or top
know.
one of your top 10 is what I'll say. I
Right
don't want to
now,
put you
I
down
would
for number
say
one.
that like parents, celebrity parents in general, kind of like get my eye, especially like
Really?
LGBTQ or gay parents. Like I'm interested in seeing how they do it, and that inspires me. And like there's Neil Patrick Harris and family. Like the thing that's all those Sean T and I don't know Colton Underwood more recently. So they're all those people. They all have very different journeys, but they're all being inspiring, and I love to hear what they have to say about what it's like to be parents for them. So. Um, that's at the top of my head. If that makes sense.
Well, that's cool. I do love to see stuff like that too. I would love to have them on my podcast one
Yeah.
day, but I think I may have to wait a year until my channel is like 10 million followers, and then they'll pay attention. But until then, we will stick with some of the more fantastic and magical people that I
That's
can get on a
awesome.
podcast now. So we'll go with that. All right,
Yeah.
so I have a question. What is Mauricio's kitchen?
Maurice's Kitchen. So that is my creative outlet. So that was also a pandemic baby. So it started before the pandemic as a picture diary of my food and what I cook and where I go to eat. And then during COVID, when I was working as a journalist covering the pandemic and all the horrible stuff that happened on that first year, 2020, I needed a creative outlet, and that's when I started creating video content. Doing my own recipes, trying recipes from cookbooks, and sort of what it is, the beginning of what it is now. And it is a creative outlet where I can just show people that cooking is easy, and also try to like m- try new things where I learn about nutrition. Like I have friends who are celiac, for example, have celiac disease, so I learned how gluten is not really necessary. I have a good friend who is vegan, so I try to grab things from people close to me who are actually teaching me how to eat a little better or try new things. Um, but overall,
So this cookbook,
yeah,
do you have a cookbook that's out
I
now, or is this just? Oh,
I
tell me
I
about
do
it.
not. I mean, that is the
Oh, come,
I would love to
what
want
is
to.
happening?
I know, and every time I create something new here at home, my husband goes like, "Wow, did you like? Is this a new recipe?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I kind of came up with it." It happens a bunch of times.
Okay, so what's holding you back? Tell me.
I think that I don't think I have the right amount of recipes that I will like to share with the world just yet. Um, but I'm getting there. I think.
What's the right amount? I'm gonna challenge you now. What's the right
I don't
amount?
know. I mean, the thing is, like,
Do you have more than two?
yes, absolutely. I have more than two. I have.
Okay, then you're
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah. I'm getting there. I mean, I think I would love to fill each of the categories, like, appetizers, desserts, entrees, and cocktails, and whatever. And I don't think I have enough to fill each category. And I would like it to be something very different. And I just don't have the idea fully developed yet. But I would love to, and I would love to make it easy as I make my videos to be, hopefully. So it should be sort of like an appendix of what the Instagram channel is.
I listen. I think it's a fantastic idea to be able to do that. Not a lot of I'm going to
Yeah,
speak for myself. I cook, but it's usually like one or two things that I air quotes here. Oh, I guess people can see me now, so I can
yeah,
use quotes. Uh, I have like two things that I specialize in. I
yeah,
am not a fan of like having to go to the store and find 30 pieces of recipe items to then try to put together.
yeah, yeah.
But
Or
that's
or
me
ingredients that you would only use once. I am
that I've
against
never
that
seen.
too.
That I've never
I'm
seen, right?
absolutely against too. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that having something that's visual for someone to go, okay, I see what he's doing. I can run with that and then go try to get as close to that as possible. But if you give me like a sheet of paper with 30 things on it and go shop for it, first of all, I have a problem going to the grocery store and needing to go left, right, left, right, left, right, right? Because nothing
Right.
is in order. It's all
No.
in some sort of advertising order where ice cream is next to
Yeah.
bread. It's like why
And they
that
change things
makes
all the time. Yes.
yeah. So if it was like in order to
Hmm.
say you start at the right and it's not in alphabetical order, but it's in the order that's on the shelf, that would make it 10 times easier. I think I'm going off on a tangent here because I've thought about this idea of making an app that makes things organized in that way, but I that hasn't come together. I need to focus on my podcast. But if you ever decide to do that, that would be
Yeah.
amazing,
To
especially from an
me,
LGBTQ
yeah.
perspective. And you're a dad. I mean, how
Yeah.
many, you know?
Absolutely. Like, to me, like, I will say the main things. I've lived in the United States for, this is my, oh God, it's 20. I moved here in early 2018, so it's been like, 7, 8 years or something like that. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is, like, a lot of, the average American person should learn more about nutrition in general, and that's why,
Mm-hmm.
some people eat so badly or so poorly. And I am not a nutritionist whatsoever, but I think knowing to
But you could be.
I could be, but I think it's like learning how to put ingredients together that work for you, that are nutritional and that are tasty. I mean, it's absolutely possible, and you don't have to spend a lot of money either. And I think that will be also my goal. Besides making recipes that are visually attractive and also easy to make, and things that you can reheat and, make a batch and reheat it the next day. It's the possibilities are pretty endless when you have a minimum of interest in learning and how to eat a bit better, I would think.
Especially when you have food that you can put together again the following day
Yeah,
and it tastes just as good, if not better. Because when you have
yeah,
families, right? The trick is if you can create something that lasts more than just that evening, you're putting money in the banks for your success because you've got
yeah,
so much more to do in the day. But again, on the same token, I know a lot of people who are chefs and they love to cook. So cooking every day something new and, like you said,
yeah,
nutritious is
yeah.
your
I don't
thing
cook
too.
every day, and I don't. That's not, the idea either. You can if you want to. I don't do that every day. I cook some things every day, but not
Mm-hmm.
entire meals every day. And the other thing that I would love to, like, add to that, lack of nutritional knowledge, uh, it's the food waste. You know, we are very careless with food. Like we throw things away, and you know, it is so easy to repurpose and freeze and kind of turn something into something else. Like I love doing that. And every time I've gotten to host any of the big holidays, Thanksgiving or something, you know, my husband has a big family, so do I. I try to minimize the leftovers because most of the time leftovers don't get eaten and then get thrown away. And I like to reduce as much as I can.
Even for Thanksgiving specifically is I think where I see
Yeah,
it the most. People are like, let's go all out, and you can take leftovers, and
yeah,
everybody takes stuff
it's a
over.
little bit overboard.
Listen, after,
Yeah,
you can only eat turkey for a few days, and then it's like, okay, this is
exactly.
enough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like there was one year that we hosted Thanksgiving. It was 2 years ago, and I purposely packaged everyone's leftovers in a way that you can just throw it in the oven and eat it. You know?
That's very nice of
But
you.
anyway, you know that. Yeah, because I rather, you know, if I have to force people to eat the leftovers, I will.
Okay, I'm coming to your house next Thanksgiving. Not this one, next one, because I think that's a fantastic idea. I don't know that I would do that.
Please do.
That is a very nice thing to do because I appreciate being able to just unwrap something and stick it in the microwave and not
Yeah,
have to try to figure out if I have enough to put it all together. Especially when you have kids, it's like, hey, just
yeah.
go unwrap that one thing. If you, I have a
No,
12-year-old, so it's a little easier for my kid to be able to
right.
do it. But go unwrap that one thing in the refrigerator, pop it in the microwave, knock
Yeah.
yourself out. Where does this food
I
passion
think
come from?
my you know I'm a very I don't know, I like to take care of my people and the people that I love. And I grew up with a grandmother who, you know, had always food on the table, had always had a cake made, and how always had something to give me, some drink, some
Mm-hmm.
sweets, some meal. And that's been a lot of my motivation. My grandma is no longer with us, but I like to carry that legacy of taking care of the family. I think that's where that comes from. And I started cooking very early in my life. I've always been very independent when it comes to like putting my own meals together. Not that I didn't have people to take care of me. I had plenty of that, but
Mm-hmm.
I've always been interested. Like, oh, let me just uh, make myself a pasta sauce from scratch, or like, you know, I remember doing that when I was little quite a bit, and among other things. So I think it's been
Just from scratch. Just I have time.
yeah, I just had this like childhood memory of an oregano plant in the garden of this building that I lived in, and I used to come downstairs, take a couple of oregano leaves, and just throw it in a pot with tomato sauce, and voila! And I was like 9 years old, something like that, something
This is
ridiculous.
so Master Chef Junior is what it's everything that's popping into my head right now. It's like, yeah, you'd have been great on that show.
I guess. I mean, it wasn't, you know, maybe it was ahead of my time, but you know, it was just, you know, it was a family thing, and I think my parents kind of always opened the kitchen for me to, like, you know, go ahead and experiment and do your own thing. And I've always been curious about flavors and textures and smells and what that means to people. And as an adult, like understanding those meanings is just amazing, especially when people that are no
Okay,
longer
so
with us.
I do want to ask you about your
Yeah.
family, but before I do that, what is your favorite thing to put together when it
My
comes to the
favorite
food?
thing to put together, I like
What if they're
breakfast.
like, okay, we're coming to your house, we need you to put something
Yeah.
together. You've got half a day. Go forth and
I
conquer.
mean, I love breakfast. I think breakfast is the one of the
Breakfast for
one.
dinner.
Yeah, I think it's because if you have it for dinner or for breakfast, I think it's the one meal that it comforts everybody. I know very few people who don't
Mm-hmm.
like breakfast, and the breakfast food can be it's so wide, and you know, you can always have the pancakes and the hash browns and the bacon, which is delicious at any time. But you can do other things. You can have quiche, you can have donuts, you can have cinnamon rolls, and you can have all those things. I think, you know, I will serve breakfast. I think if I had.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to do a live event,
Okay.
right, together where you're cooking and I can moderate, right, and have everybody ask questions because I think there are a lot of LGBTQ parents out there that are like, what is the quick thing I can put together,
Yeah.
or what can I do for meal prep for my two kids, or I cook for my husband every day. I love it. What is the vegan free way of doing A, B, C, and
Yeah.
D? I I just know that that's a thing because I struggle with that
Mm-hmm.
myself. Nick loves to cook, my husband, but he travels a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and he is very focused on some of the things that he's doing, so he can't always get around to doing meal prep and being ready for that, which is fine. There's no chastisement there,
Right.
but if there was some sort of a means to say, hey, here is how you can cook for 4 weeks, different meals, quick, simple, perhaps even cheap,
Yeah.
economic. Well, cheap is the wrong word to use. Low
Yeah.
cost, because we don't always want to be
Affordable.
cheap. I know chefs are better. There you go.
Yeah.
Affordable. I think that would be amazing. So I'll put a pencil in that. Maybe we'll come back to
Yeah,
it.
I would love that. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Even if you have a small fridge or freezer, there's no limits really. There's so many things that you can do, and I've learned that myself because I've been from small fridges, from bigger fridges. No, I don't have the biggest fridge yet. I would love that. Uh,
We get
a
you an industrial
walk-in fridge.
size
I saw that
restaurant
in social
fridge.
the other day, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's the way to do it, like a walk-in fridge.
Listen, just change the bedroom that you're in now into a walk-in
Yeah,
fridge, and you're
no,
good
that's
to
okay. I
go.
need my office. I love my space, so I'm not giving that up just yet. But anyway, so and then something crazy that so Martha Stewart, she says that you need two dishwashers, which sounds crazy, right?
Listen, Nick just told me the same thing. She has to, incidentally,
Yeah.
temporarily, we have two dishwashers.
Okay, well there you go. Take advantage.
And it is quite interesting. Now, what I find happening is things sit a little bit longer because we have the opportunity to use two dishwashers. So
Right.
I don't know that is exactly what Martha Stewart had in mind, but
Yeah.
so I'm like, we need to get rid of one. This is
No, what she
causing
says, I think
issues.
it's like you need one for pots and pans and the other one for dishes. So I think
Okay.
that's the difference.
Well, when I get a Martha Stewart sized kitchen,
Right. I don't know if that solves your issue, but
incidentally,
hopefully.
I did get to kind of meet with her. I don't know if you've been through it's probably farther down on my Instagram, but we did get a picture with her when she was out here for some home and garden
Nice.
something. So it's myself, Nicholas, and baby Jacob with Martha Stewart standing in the middle of us. It's kind of cool. This was after her incarceration, so
Okay.
we got gangster Martha.
Yeah.
All right, so Mauricio,
Yeah.
in 15 seconds here, tell me about you, your family, and how awesome you are, and then we'll get into some other questions.
My name is Mauricio Chamberlin. I am a dad of Elliot. Elliot is almost 3 months old. My husband,
Ooh, brand new.
yeah, he's a fresh biscuit. That's someone named him the other day, which is hilarious. And my husband is Eric. We live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area since late 2019, right before COVID, and we met in New York City in 2018. Um, and I'm a journalist. My husband is a lawyer, so we have a cool combination of creativity and seriousness, sort of say. And I think we balance each other out really well. And now we have our baby, which is a dream come true.
So you said you moved to the United States in 2017, 2018. Where'd you move from?
I was living in Ecuador at the time. I'm originally from Venezuela, but I was living in Ecuador.
I'm from
Oh,
Panama.
there you go. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm from Venezuela. I've been out of my country since 2012. I went to grad school in Argentina first, and then I moved to Ecuador for like 4 years for work. And then from Ecuador, I moved to New York City. Why did I move to New York City? Because I had family friends there that I could stay with for a little bit. And I moved to the US because I wanted to have a family. And that was the meaning of that decision. I had a nice job in Ecuador.
Oh, so you knew from way back then.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to be a dad. I've always wanted to have the family that I had somehow, in my own terms, of course. So I had a nice job in Ecuador, stability, not the best salary in the world, but enough to live comfortably. And I left all of that behind because I needed to be at a place where I could have what I have now. Um, Unfortunately, that vision was not possible where I was. I know there are gay
Mm-hmm.
dads in Ecuador and they're thriving and they're doing wonderful. And I follow them on Instagram and cheers to them. It just wasn't.
Yay!
It
Please
wasn't
follow me
hap-
too.
It wasn't happening for me. It wasn't happening for me there. So that's why I just decided to come to the U.S. At the time and shortly after.
Do you think the country was too small to really allow you to expand the way you wanted to? There was
Well,
like too many overlaps,
the
perhaps,
thing is,
or
like,
what do you think that
in
was?
my very own personal opinion, I think I did not feel that the legal frame was strong enough for me to pursue that. And also, the dating scene didn't happen for me really at the time. I didn't really find the person where I can accomplish that with. But when I decided to leave, I wasn't trying to accomplish parenthood with a partner necessarily. I was like, just gonna do it on my own if that's what it ended up being, because I didn't want to subject being a parent with being married or having a partner. It just happened that way, and it is wonderful. But at the time, it wasn't a part of my decision making. I didn't come here to find a husband. Basically, that was not the plan. Nothing against that, but that was not my plan. Is to have a family, and it happened through a series of events at the time. But in Ecuador, yes, like it wasn't. I think that it is a very conservative society. They are very flexible in many ways, and they're very culturally rich. And there's a bunch of things that I miss from living there. But when it comes to realizing my vision of what the family and the home that I wanted to have, it was not possible there.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. We all take the road that we envision for ourselves, and what works for others doesn't always mean that it's going to work for us. So I applaud you on recognizing that early. Not a lot of people do. So
Yeah,
it's clear that you had a vision in mind, and we're trying to stick to that. So coming to the United States, you are a naturalized American citizen. Is that correct?
that's correct. Since 2023. Yes. Thank
Congratulations.
you.
And I say that because I went through the same
Yeah.
process. Golly, it's been 12 years now. But for the large part that I lived in the United States, I was a permanent resident.
Okay.
So, yes, legal and whatnot. But getting that naturalization was definitely the final milestone to being situated here. And since then, other family members within my bubble have decided to go down that route. So, what does that mean to you to be naturalized today, as opposed to just being a permanent resident, being a dad in our political
To me,
visions?
it is a very powerful thing. Like, I think it makes me, having the opportunity to become an American citizen, it's an honor. I think, because I am a believer in the core values of this country. A lot of them, we know, they are not being necessarily honored right now. Um, but I think the fact that I'm able to live my honest life and be myself and build a family that I have and or that I start to have in this place is just like, that's what the American dream is to me. And the fact that that became a reality, it speaks a lot to what becoming a citizen is, if that makes sense. So I think it's um, being able to enjoy all the rights that we have as not only as LGBTQ plus people, it's just people in general, the American people or people who live here. Um, it's just something that we should not take for granted. And I think I don't like to call myself an example of anything, but I think if I can motivate other people to believe in accomplishing things, um, here I am. I think it's just a matter of making the right decisions. Um, I lost my train of thought for a sec, but if you want to ask me something else, but yeah, yeah,
While you think about that, I think we are all unintentional mentors by the
yeah,
very nature that we are progressing through this world and bumping into people left and right. I think that we are unintentionally providing a good example of
hmm
what we hope we would have bumped into back in the day, right? Because
Yeah.
you know, you coming up here and going for your goals, you're sharing that with your friends and the people you talk to at work. You know, now that you're a dad, you have an opportunity just by being on this podcast to be an unintentional mentor. That's not your goal. You just want to, you know, share your story and make sure
Yeah.
people can hear it. But, you know, in the next whenever this episode comes out, so in the next 5 days from when this is released, so many people are going to hear it and go, oh man, that, you know,
Yeah.
I'm from South America, and look, this guy just said I'm gonna just do it, and he did it. And
Yeah.
that's good motivation, even with the baby we can hear in the background, which makes me smile.
Yeah.
But so I think that is encouraging. That is the goal of this podcast, to really say these are human beings before they
Yeah.
were dads who had their journeys. They're now dads, so they now have
Yeah.
a different journey that they're progressing through, which brings me to Eric. Tell me how you guys met.
So we met through an app that no longer exists. So the app was called Chappy. Um, I don't know
Oh, I've
how
never heard of
I
that.
don't know how long was it around. I think it was short lived. I really don't know the story of it.
It was only for you guys then.
Yeah, I guess. So it was kind of like Tinder, kind of like, because it was like, the swiping right or left type of function or whatnot. But then I remember it was this cute little bow tie that you could move right or left, and it was like Mr. Right Now, or Mr. Who Knows. So you could move the bow tie to whatever setting you were, looking for.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I guess we both wanted to meet Mr. Right, and we swiped on each other. I don't know if it was left or right. I don't remember, but
Well, it had to be correct.
right. And then we started chatting for like a month, but we couldn't meet in person because I was working and he was traveling, and it was like it took a while for us to meet in person. And I always like to tell the story because in this day and age where everything and everyone seems to be disposable, and we lose interest in people really quick, it wasn't the case for us. It was a connection from just texting, and we waited to actually meet in person for like a month because we couldn't make it happen from one reason or the other. And then from that very very first dates, we just knew that we just there was something there, and we talked about parenthood very early on. So we knew we wanted to be a family, have a family, and have kids in the long run, and that would be the motivation of our relationship as well. And we took it from there, and we've been together
Magic
since.
ever since.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So having that earlier conversation, how
Yeah.
important do you think it is to have a conversation early enough to say, I want to have a family, as opposed to I use air quotes again, waiting for the right moment, right? Because everybody wants to wait for things to be exactly the way they should be before they do whatever, and
Yeah.
it never comes, right? So ripping that band-aid off early is what I recommend, but not everybody does that.
Yeah, I think yes. I think I recommend the same in my own personal experience. I think becoming a dad it was such a huge part of who I am and who I was. And I think with my husband, I can tell he was the same, because we both had similar family experiences growing up. So we wanted to replicate that, as I mentioned early in our conversation. So I think when something defines you a lot like that, you should definitely bring it up, and see if the person is on the same page with you, or will be in the same page with you, or has like valid reasons why he or she wants to wait a certain amount of time before taking that step, which is valid. But I think, I met someone last week who told me that, his first marriage didn't work out because the person he married to ended up not wanting kids in the long run. So that was kind of disruptive of the whole experience. It was really sad. People can change their minds. That's
That is
fine. But I
sad.
think something fundamental like that, I think it should be talked about early on, if that's something that you really really want, and you don't want to just waste any time that you can use towards accomplishing that, maybe with someone who was not appreciative of that goal as same as you.
Right, being on the same page means a lot. That means you're both running in the same direction, planning financially for the same outcome. So what is the journey or the path that you guys took in order to
Hmm.
expand your family? As you know, there's foster to adopt, which is the road I took. There's just the
Yeah.
adoption. There's surrogacy.
Okay.
There's all sorts of other different avenue. What did you guys? How did you guys land on it?
So early on those conversations, so I always like up to the point before I met my husband, like my idea was to have biological children. Um, that changed when I met him. He wanted to adopt and kind of lured me into it, and we went with
He
we
learned.
went to happily because the whole point is just to have a family. I really didn't care. I wasn't too attached to the biological kids idea. So he wanted to adopt, and we kind of started that journey, and we went through private adoption. And uh,
In New York, right?
we
Is that
no, we moved to North Carolina in 2019.
gotcha?
So we didn't start our journey until late 2022. Because we got married and we built our house and we kind of like did it very systematically,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. We were not ready to take the step that early, I guess. We wanted to have the space and the stability and whatnot, and then we started to jump on it. And it wasn't until uh, way into our relationship and marriage that we finally decided to start the process.
Okay. Okay. So going through the adoption process in North
Yeah.
Carolina, what would you say was your experience? Was it smooth and very straightforward, or did you have some bumps and obstacles? And I ask that question because a lot of people
Yeah.
go in thinking one thing and come out thinking something different, and it's an opportunity to insert some reality checks into the process just so people can be
Yeah.
aware, not to
Yeah.
discourage them, right? We want to make sure you're well informed that this could take 2 days or it could take 5 years.
Yeah, and there is a universe of things that we've learned that we did not know early in the process. So we did not adopt locally. We adopted from a different state. Um,
Hmm.
our baby was born in a different state, and it's because we worked with a consultant organization that has a network of agencies. I'm happy to share their names. And
Yeah, yeah.
so their name is A Step Ahead. So A Step Ahead, they're wonderful. So we started our journey with them 2.5 years ago by recommendation of neighbors that we have who adopted through them. Um, so they basically are an organization that is connected to a network of agencies, meaning that you have a more increased chances to have a match. And this is for mostly for newborn babies, but they also offer the possibility of adopting older kids if that's what you're looking for. It does take a bit of time because even when the pool is pretty big, there's multiple cases that can submit to an expected mom, a birth mom. So you can be picked
Hmm.
or rejected or not being chosen at all. And that game for us lasted 2.5 years um, before we finally matched with our son's birth mom.
But it
Um,
wasn't just silence for 2 years. You guys went through. You
no, no,
guys
no.
identified, picked
Yeah.
for whatever reason it fell through, and you
Yeah,
had to start over.
we submitted to a bunch of cases. We had two disruptions. Um, the first one was tougher than the second one, but it's a part of it. And I think the big learning of it all is like no process, whether you go through adoption or foster or surrogacy or uh, whatever way you choose to become a parent, it doesn't mean that it will take any more or any less time because every process has its specific challenges and things that you cannot control. So I think patience is definitely key, and communicating with your partner on how you're feeling, like especially for me there was a point where it became very frustrating before our first match, um, because I thought like the cases were not great, or we were getting cases that were not tailored to who we were. There are some birth moms who want traditional families, or want people with already families that already had kids. So there's all sorts of things that felt exclusive to us, and that wasn't nice. to deal with. So there was a point when I just told my husband, can you read the email and just let me know if we can submit to that or not? I just don't want to read it and feel bad about it. So we kind of had to, like, multitask in that way, kind of like handle it in a way that it wouldn't be too hard for me. It ended up being worth it in the end. Like, it's all worth it once you have your child in your arms. But I think um, private adoption it was a positive experience for us, but it wasn't any less challenging by any means.
So what was that? What was that process? Rephrase.
Yeah.
What was that experience for you? The the day you got your child, you got to hold your child in your hand. What was that like?
Wow. So yeah. So
And
it was a
so
bit.
here's the reason I asked that. I never went
Yeah.
through that experience. We adopted our kid. He was 4,
Okay.
which is magical in itself, absolutely. But it's not like having a newborn, which I
Yeah.
think comes with like 10,000 different experiences.
Yeah. Uh, we um, we had to wait to meet him because we were not allowed to go to the hospital when he was born, unfortunately. So he was
Not allowed. Unable
no,
to or not allowed?
we were
Tell me
not
about that. What
allowed
does that mean?
because his birth mom is in prison. Um,
Oh,
and
interesting.
yeah, so she's in prison. So because she's incarcerated, we could not go to the hospital until she was discharged and returned to the prison. So that's
Mm.
why there was a 5 day period between the day he was born and the day we met him because of that. And those five
So,
days
quick
were
question
tough.
before I let you go on.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the adoption process was organized and orchestrated by an agency of the state?
Yes.
Is that Does that change that whole process? It's not like she didn't get to choose who gets the kid. It's like the state got to do that for her.
No,
I
no,
don't.
it was
What are some of the
she.
nuances of
So
that?
in this specific case, there's other ways of this would happen. She's in custody of the state, where she
Mm-hmm.
but she before she was incarcerated, she got in touch with the agency that handled the adoption plan. And the adoption plan, the agency was the one that built her profile. The profile was sent to us via this consultant organization that we work with, and that's why we ended up traveling to this other state to do the adoption. But it was her choice at all times. She chose
Okay.
us, and we chose her. That's where the match happens. But when it comes to the specific uh, part of the birth of the baby and everything, we could not be at the hospital because she was not allowed to have visitors. Like she's incarcerated, so that process kind of um,
Makes sense.
extends to a hospitalization situation in which she could not see anyone other than the doctors and the medical team and the people who were uh, from the prison who were keeping her custody there. So it was 5 days before we met him, and the first night was just uh, we went there and everyone was super nice. The hospital people were extremely great. The nurses were amazing, um, but it was like we became parents that night. It was very abrupt. We were ready and prepared, but it was very abrupt when we were presented with this child that we had to feed and change diapers in the hospital for like 3 days because he lost a lot of weight. So we had to stay in the hospital with him until he was gaining it back. Um, but it was amazing. It was just uh, our life was a before and after before we met him, and we've been so happy ever since. It's been almost 3 months
So,
of that.
Who came up with the name Elliot? How'd you guys
So,
arrive at
oh
that?
God, so way before we had him, we had a note on a shared note on our phone with baby names, and you know we are very particular with names. We wanted something short, something that was easy to pronounce both in English and Spanish. Um, and there were only a few names that would fit those limits, and Elliot was the winner for a while. So
I think it's a cool name.
yeah,
I
thank
love
you,
Elliot.
thank you.
It reminds me of the movie Elliot. I think he was, who was he, the dancer? I think he was a
Billy
dancer.
Elliot,
Yeah, Billy
great,
Elliot.
great movie. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so how has this now grown into the from the concept of being a dad to actually being a dad? Because now the mechanics are off and running. So between yourself and your husband, what's the difference in dadship, in fathernetics, in the energy
Yeah,
vibes of being a dad?
it's crazy because I between the two of us, I was the one who read the most books, and I was like before, I've been reading books, and I had a subscription to Parents Magazine. Rest in peace. They no longer print. But I love Parents Magazine. I was reading it for years, years, and I just I was obsessed with being a dad and doing the best job I could. My husband wasn't so much into the books and the magazines. I would share things with him all the time, and I gave him my stack of books uh, towards the end of I don't know, last year or something like that, or the year before. And he read some of it, and so I was like, okay, maybe he wasn't as intuitive as it was for me, and also like I had more experience with babies because I am the oldest of my siblings and I'm my oldest cousin, um, and um, that's how it was. But then when we got to the hospital, there was a switch. Like he was like hands on, uh, and it was just like surprising for me to see him becoming a dad, because I knew I had it in me. I just didn't know he had it in the same way, and we're just exactly the same. And it's beautiful. It's been a
It's
beautiful.
the book smarts versus the street smarts,
Yeah,
right?
I
You
guess.
got the intellectual part down,
Yeah,
but then it's like, okay,
and
now
also
what?
the intuition kind of kicks in, and then your baby tells you what to do. That is absolutely real. And there's all other scientific, genetic, hormonal things that happen to you as a human being caring for another one, small human being, and it's been great. So right now, he sleeps pretty well. We take shifts on the night bottle feeding, like the bottle that is in the middle of the night. Um, I'm currently not working, so that works out because I can take care of the baby during the day, and my husband, we share 50-50. We equally share the responsibilities baby wise on weekends, and at night we take shifts on who gives that night bottle that kind of disrupts the sleep. But other than that, it's not hard, really. It
Not
hasn't been hard.
yet.
Not
Enjoy it
yet.
while you
I know it
can.
will be. I know it will be. I know. But he's a
Well,
really
hard
sweet.
hard is the wrong term. I think it just gets a little
Yeah.
bit more complicated because
Yeah.
as a dad,
Challenging.
you're willing to do anything, right? So it's not hard. It's just okay. Now
Yeah.
there's like 10 levels on top of the first one we started with.
Yeah, I mean, it is. He is a different baby every day. There's always different stages that we go through, especially with formula, and when he's ready to eat more, and then he needs to adjust to that, and then it's always his routine is always changing. Like I always tell people and my family, like every day is the same, but at the same time, every day can be different, because
Hmm.
hours are different. Bottles are not at the same time. Diapers not at the same time. It's like they happen every day, different at different times of the day, but there's not always at the same time. So you cannot really plan around certain things. But I would say it's been wonderful to after we pass the baby jail period, which is the first 2 months where you're not supposed to go anywhere because he doesn't have his vaccines yet. But once he had his vaccines, it was
Well, you
so
did have to fly back home,
well. Yes,
so
well, we
that doesn't count,
did. We
right?
did. We didn't have a choice. That was like he was nine days old when we flew him back, so which was quite the challenge, but it was great. But then after the baby jail, it was 2 months. It's been great to go to the grocery store and like be out there in the open as a family and doing things, going to breweries, doing stuff, doing just going to dinner, and that has been wonderful, and it's exciting every single time for me to like step out of the car.
It's like a whole new world,
It's a
right? You're walking past the
whole
same
it's a
tree, but
whole
it's so
it's
different
a
now.
whole new world, and so far, um, It's been great. It's been great to have that. It's like you're carrying this flag. Like, I'm a dad. I'm very proud, and 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 we've accomplished this beautiful thing, and it's just very exciting to do day to day things that's for some people might be boring, but I love going to the grocery store with my family. I love going to being in public. It's amazing.
Well, that's your two favorite things, right? The
Well,
cooking
yes,
and now the
yeah,
kids. So grocery store. Let's bring it
right,
together.
right. But I think yeah,
So no, go
yeah.
ahead. What
So
were
I
you think?
think it going back to the American dream. The fact that we are able to walk outside as a family, as a family unit, as of three, like everyone else, it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful, you know, it's amazing that we have the right to do that, and to be who we are.
So where do you think you get your readiness to be a dad from? Are you taking a lot of what you've seen and gotten from your dad, or are you saying, and in some cases this
Mhm.
is the case, right? Where, hey, I have some experiences from my dad. I don't like any of those, so I'm going to be a different dad. Or it could be
Mhm.
from your mom or your abuela, that you're getting some of the fathernetics, that energy, the knowledge, the je ne sais quoi that may have prepared you indirectly to be a dad.
Yeah, my mom. I will say my mom. She's the number one inspiration to me to parent. She is awesome. She's amazing. She's just a guiding light for me and my siblings. And she, even when me and my sister no longer live with her or in the country, um, my mom is still in Venezuela. Um, and
Okay.
the
Has she met your son?
Not yet. She's dying to come.
Not
Hopefully
yet.
before
Okay.
Christmas she will come. But um the thing is, like, she's been an inspiration to me because she was always a working mom. She always worked, but
Mm-hmm.
she was always my mom. She never the fact that she was a
Mm-hmm.
working mom, I always had a meal made by her. I always had her around. And she inspired me to kind of find that balance between having a career and work, but also becoming a successful parent. And she accomplished that, and that's been amazing. I'm just trying to get as close as what she did as I can, because it was wonderful. I would say that when it comes to the cooking, my mom cooked a fair amount of meals growing up, but she wasn't like my grandmother. Like, she didn't make huge elaborate things like my grandma did, because my mom was a working mom. But that did not stop her from putting food on the table and making wonderful things that I still make to this day.
So what dish do you remember that's tied to your grandma? Did she make like and for me it's like arroz con pollo is part of
Uh huh.
my growing up with my grandmother, or like she was a baker, so it was always like cakes and
Yeah.
pastries and stuff like that. And then
Um.
even from the Spanish culture, like paella is very close to a arroz con pollo, which I enjoy. I
Yeah.
don't like the seafood part of it, but that's just me.
I will say Christmas with my grandma, like the smell of her kitchen. My grandma's kitchen
Like
usually used to,
cookies.
yeah, my grandma's kitchen used to smell like cloves and coffee and vanilla, and like that was the smells coming out of her kitchen most of the
Ooh.
time. But Christmas at her house, I remember that. And we have something called ayacas, which is something that we eat at Christmas in Venezuela, and I've made them every
Oh,
year
I'm gonna have
since
to
I
Google
left
that.
home. Yeah, it is delicious. So it's a tamal like thing. Um, Very elaborate, but it's elaborate because you make it with the family. Like each family member does a step, and it
Okay.
becomes it's a family activity all around the holidays, and it's wrapped up in plantain leaves and boiled, and it's delicious. So
Is this a video that you're going to be making
I
for Christmas this year to put on your
I
Instagram?
should make another version. I've made it before, but I can make another version, an updated version
I'm going to
here.
remind you. Christmas
Yeah,
comes around. I'm going to be looking for that.
please remind me. I've been meaning to do another version of it. But it's delicious. So I think the best way that I can carry her legacy food wise is to carry that Christmas tradition of making those that are so elaborate that some people don't make them anymore. A lot of people buy them, which is okay. But the tradition of
Yeah.
making them from scratch is a dying thing, sadly.
Oh, that is, food is the long history of bringing people together,
Yeah,
and family being in the kitchen and talking and having fun and creating and messing up and having to start over and, and dropping things everywhere is
yeah,
part of it as well. No, okay.
exactly.
So one of my last questions here is: you said you're a
Yeah.
journalist. How do you see that playing a role in what you do? What is there a specific area of journalism that you focused in, or have decided to focus in, knowing that you have some dad ambitions?
Oh, wow, that is an interesting question. So
I only ask interesting questions here.
No, yeah, you absolutely do. Most of my career, I would say that I worked in news media. Like I used to work in news and broadcast news, not by choice. I would say that was just the opportunities that I was given. Right now, I'm finally stepping back from that because it became too much, especially with the current political climate. I was like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. It's just too
Mm-hmm.
um, and especially when I have other interests. Um, and so yeah, I don't really have a connection between that and my family oriented self. um, but I would say that the teamwork was amazing, and I try to learn from all the people that I work with. I worked in like 3 to 4 different newsrooms. One of them was virtual, and that didn't stop me from making lifelong friends and learning from different backgrounds. And I will say that that has enriched my human experience as a person. But when it comes to parenting, I don't know. I'd like to. I always like to help and collaborate others, and I think that's why I love working with teams of people because I always like to be of service of others. And
Can we get a new parent magazine coming out of you and your
I would
friends?
love that. I would love to have that. I think there's still work in digital, but they still happen on digital. They just don't print them anymore. Um, but I would
Yeah, we don't need it to be printed. We just need it to be available, right?
available.
Because
Yes.
nothing but resources is what we need for people who are curious, not just about extending their family, but just gay resources, period,
Yeah.
across the board. I think that is there's never enough
Yeah,
of
and I
that.
think, when it comes to families, like, you sort of said something interesting there that, families with the right resources and the right visibility and the right inspiration, some people, like, I think, you can have a family however that looks for you. It's such a personal concept. And I think the lack of visibility and the lack of information and resources out there make people have a very limited version of what a family is like. And your example, like,
Mm-hmm.
you adopted an older child, like I adopted a newborn. Like, there's so many ways to parent. If you want to parent, there's so many ways to parent. Like my own sister, for example, like she told me once, that she's not sure that she wants to carry a child, which is great. But then, she wants to become a mother. You don't have
And you don't
to.
have to look at the
You
modern
don't have to,
medicine.
and you
Yeah.
can, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can have a surrogate, but you can maybe adopt, you can foster, you can. There's so many ways to parent that it's not limited to having a parent, sorry, a partner to do it. So it's I think it's important to, like, if it's something that you want to do, and if it's something that motivates you and it's a part of who you are, or something that you are inspired by, go for it. There's so many ways that you can make that happen, and not everything, it doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to, or a lot of money. And just find the right path for you, and be persistent if that's what you want.
Well, if that isn't just the most amazing way to close the
I didn't
podcast.
mean to say that, but I think it's,
That was a
yeah,
call to action. No, it just came right out of you. I like that. I mean, but that's the honesty and the intentionality, and dare I say, that's the parent in you that's able
yeah.
to say that so confidently. So I appreciate that. That was well said. I could not have
Yeah,
said it
and
any better.
I just think that, as many other fundamental things in life, you don't have to prevent yourself from having it just because you live in a certain place of the world, or live in a certain context, or have financial limitations. It's not impossible. It isn't.
I agree. We can
Yeah.
always find a way. That's one of the mantras for a lot of people in this
Yes.
world. Find the way. And I think again with these podcasts, it just encourages people to say, "I'm looking for the way. I just need someone to be able to say,
Yeah.
this is something that you can do." And that's exactly what you're doing. So I appreciate this, Mauricio. This was fantastic. I appreciate you joining me on this podcast. It's been fantastic. It's kind of cool to hear the baby in the background because I mean that'll make most people smile.
Yeah.
We all know that sound.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations too. I mean it's so new. That's got to be quite the ride. So in 5 years or maybe less, we're gonna have to reconnect and see how things have changed. Have they gone from easy to more complex?
I would love to share that when the time comes. Yes.
All right, fantastic. Well, I appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Do it. You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby. You are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody.